Breaking generational curses is a powerful and transformative journey that challenges the patterns, beliefs, and behaviors passed down through family lines. These curses, often rooted in negative cycles of behavior or trauma, can exert a significant influence on our lives and choices. The act of breaking these patterns involves conscious awareness, introspection, and the commitment to healing and personal growth. By choosing to dismantle these inherited limitations, individuals pave the way for positive change, not only for themselves, but for future generations. This exploration of breaking generational curses illuminates the strength of self-awareness and the potential to rewrite the narrative of our families, paving the path towards empowerment and liberation. Whatever generational curses you have in your life in regards to your upbringing and the do's and don'ts you have known all your life that has shaped you as a person currently, what are those generational curses have you changed or no longer live for? There's so many things I have changed in my life where I no longer believe, tolerate, or live by, and I am one of the few who are breaking those generational curses. To find out more on what those curses are, continue listening because you don't want to miss this episode. Welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is I, your one and only host, Druelee, of course. Before I begin talking about the topic for this episode, how do you guys like my introduction? So I know that I've been putting a disclaimer in the beginning of every episode. I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of me putting my disclaimer. So for those who are just tuning in and this is the first episode that you are listening to, if you listen to my previous episodes, my introduction wasn't all that, okay? So I just wanted to put a disclaimer just so that you guys are aware that I am a very honest, blunt, and I go hard and I will tell the truth, the honest truth. There'll be some topics that are very taboo to talk about. And for those who have very sensitive ears, who cannot handle my truth or my sarcasm, all that, negative, whatever you want to call it, honest, truthful things that a woman can talk about, then yeah, this is not an episode for you, or this is not a podcast for you. I just want to get rid of that disclaimer. So I'm pretty sure you guys have heard it millions of times. So if you're new here and you don't know anything about me and what my podcast is all about, then this is not for you. But just head back to my previous episode, listen to the beginning of the intro. You'll understand what my podcast is all about. But other than that, I just want my introductions to be a little bit, exciting and to, bring you guys into the episode so that you guys are aware and you guys know what I'm going to talk about. Aside from that, on this episode, I'll be talking about breaking generational curses. Now, depending on what your culture is and what you grew up believing and living by, for me, if you guys don't know, I am a Hmong American woman who was born and raised in the United States, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And first generation, there are a couple of things that I no longer live by or believe just because of the things that I've been through. And just another disclaimer, this is my personal experience, my personal opinion. And if you guys don't like what I have to say, oh well, this is my podcast. This is my episode. I am sharing with you guys what I truly, honestly feel when it comes to generational curses and the things that I've lived through, specifically from my culture and from religion aspect as well too. So I hope that for those who are struggling with breaking generational curses and becoming the best version of yourself, then this is the episode for you. And I welcome you to continue listening because you don't want to miss this, okay? But I have 8 things that I decided to break when it comes to generational curses. And again, depending on what your culture is and all that. For me, I grew up in a Hmong cultural family, and my family, we grew up as a Christian. And we didn't really believe or follow the typical Hmong family where they do those traditional shamanism, rituals or whatever you want to call it. And again, I don't have much information, or I am not too knowledgeable when it comes to shamanism, but all I know is that a lot of the Hmong family, they still believe in the old traditional way where they believe in shaman. And for me, I just grew up being a Christian, so that's all I know. Even though my family didn't really participate or practice the old traditional way, we still believe in certain things when it comes to our culture. So there's a difference between following culture and following religion. And people tend to mix that together. I don't know. It's just so weird because even though we are Hmong, we still believe in the wedding traditional way of doing things. Same with funerals. When you get sick or there's something happens to you in your health wise, we tend to follow our cultural way to heal us or to, get things done according to our culture. So for those who get what I'm trying to say, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. But my family, we basically mix our culture along with the new generational religion, which is Christianity. We mix those both. Even though we don't have family members come over and do like spiritual, I don't know what you call it. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not in tune with or know so much about the shamanism culture or religion or whatever you want to call it. I just know bits and pieces of it. But like I said, when it comes to funerals and when it comes to weddings, we do it differently. Hmong Christians do it differently. However, we still follow culture procedures, if you want to call it, that we still follow through. And so going back to bringing generational curses, 8 things that I have for you guys that I changed my mind when it comes to living my life now, because before that I used to not believe in these things and I wasn't open to them. And so let's get right into it. The first one, and you guys will know it's so obvious, is that it's okay to get divorced. Now in my Hmong culture, and I'm pretty sure there's other culture out there that have the same thing as well, but specifically in my Hmong culture, we shame upon Hmong women when it comes to divorce. And a lot of the shame and a lot of the blame game is towards Hmong women. And not a lot of that is towards the Hmong men, just because that's just how it goes. And one of the reasons why I hesitated in divorcing is because I didn't want to bring shame to my dad. I don't want to bring shame to, my Lee clan family, if that's what you want to say. Again, I'm not too close to my Lee side of the family. And again, like if you guys listen to my previous episode, I was more close to my church members. I consider them as family for me already. Of course, growing up in a Christian family and in a Hmong culture household, divorce was a shame for us women. If you go to church, you guys know that people say that God doesn't like it when you get divorced, because if you get divorced and then you start dating other people and get married with another person, then you basically commit adultery. And that was also one of the reasons why I didn't consider divorce, because of that. You guys, I was so narrow-minded. And, I'm not blaming God. I'm not blaming the Bible scripture or whatever, But in the time of my life when I was not in the mindset of where I needed to be and I was on the verge of getting divorced, I did research about it. I did research what would God think of me when I do get divorced. Would he be sad that I did that? Am I committing a huge sin? What if God doesn't love me? So, imagine you being a devoted Christian who loves God so much, and you don't want to do anything that will make God mad. And you grow up learning about God, and God's word is to not get divorced. And if you do, you're basically bringing shame to God. You are sinning against God, and you're committing adultery. And I don't know, somewhere in the Bible it says that if your spouse has not passed away, then you can't get married. You have to wait for them to pass away in order for you to get remarried again. If not, you basically are committing adultery. And y'all, there was this video on YouTube, okay? I don't remember who this lady was, but this lady was basically saying that she was telling us audience that she can't divorce her husband because in the Bible, one of the Bible verses says that if I divorce my husband and I happen to get remarried again, I basically committed adultery because her ex didn't pass away. So I was like, what? So she's like, yeah, I'm scared now. Like, I don't want to get divorced because if I get divorced, then I'm committing adultery and I am a big sinner towards God or something like that. She made it as if like it was so like shameful to divorce your spouse, and if they're not dead, you can't get remarried, and if they're still alive and you get remarried, you basically commit adultery regardless. And then, oh, you guys, I was so confused. I'm like, oh my gosh, should I just stay in this relationship, this marriage where it's not going anywhere, where I'm like mentally and emotionally struggling? I'm just only staying in because I don't want to upset God, and I didn't want to bring shame or be a sinner towards God, and also I didn't want to bring shame to my Lee family or bring shame to my dad, specifically my dad, and all that shit ran through my mind. But the moment when I officially got divorced, it got to a point where it was okay. I would assume that my dad would like, oh, I'm gonna just disown you because you're a divorcee or this and that or whatever. But here's what I gotta say for those who are contemplating on getting divorced, who cannot live another day, another week, another month, another year in your relationship, and you really want to divorce, I said go right ahead. But there gotta be a good reason to divorce, okay? And I would do a different episode on that, but specifically if divorce is something that you want to do but you're afraid to do it because nobody in the family has been divorced, you don't want to bring shame to your family name, or you don't want to bring shame or be the biggest sinner towards God or bring shame to God, then I say just go right ahead and do it, you know, because those are the reasons why I stayed that long in that marriage when it wasn't serving me at all. And it's very common for Hmong parents to stay together for the sake of kids, for the sake of reputation, for the sake of the family name, you know, whatever excuse that people have. But majority of the time you hear that our parents are still together because of those reasons. But even though their relationship is very trashy and very like not all that, like they still stay together and they don't want to get divorced because of those reasons. And for me, like I don't want to live my life where I'm so miserable, where I'm mentally, emotionally drained, physically drained, spiritually drained, and all those things. Like I don't want to live my life like that. And when I'm with someone who is mentally and emotionally draining me passively, and they're not doing what they need to do as a partner, then it's gonna fuck up with me and my energy. Like you guys, like it's gonna mess you up. That's one of the things that I no longer am ashamed to do, is to get divorced. And it's okay to get divorced. Just because people say so much bad things about divorce, and for those who are still together in a long relationship, again, we don't know everybody's relationship. Only they know, okay? But for those who are also negative about those who have been divorced, those people who look down on those people who also have been divorced, that's not okay. And for me, I'm breaking that generational curses where I'm not going to just stay with my husband just because he didn't hit me, or he didn't cheat on me, or he didn't emotionally abuse me. Now we live in a generation where there's so much resources that we can learn about. There's a lot of things that we can and cannot do, especially if we're in our motherland. I'm pretty sure there's certain things that we can get away with, but now that we're in the United States, you can't just randomly hit somebody and get away with it. Like, you can actually report that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will say, especially to me, that why would you divorce your husband? He didn't cheat on you, or he did cheat. Okay. But they will say something about like, he didn't hit you, or he's a good person. He didn't do this. And yes, but however, what you don't understand is that, I was the one that's in the relationship. I know the ins and out of it. And if it's not serving me to where I can be the best version of myself, then what's the point of being in that relationship? Like, I'm not just going to be with this person because I have a kid with this person. I'm not going to be with this person because I made a vow to God saying that I won't divorce this person. Like, it's like, marriage is not a game. And some people, they think that it's a game. And for me, I married this person because I truly did believe and wanted this life with this person. I didn't want to get divorced. It's not like I planned to. But for those who, like I said, are in my shoes and understand that even though you didn't plan to get divorced, and if you're afraid to get divorced, it's okay to take that leap if it's not serving you. Whatever your reasons to it, that's on you. Nobody needs to understand you. Nobody needs to know why you decide to get divorced. And if they want to, no, then it's up to you to tell them. But don't hold yourself back just because culture and religion is telling you that divorce is shameful and that you shouldn't do it. So they're basically saying that to stick through it even though he beats you. Just stick through it even though he is mentally or verbally, sexually or whatever, abusing you. All sorts of abuse. Just because this person didn't really physically hit you or abuse you, he can abuse you on certain things as well too. And if you are changing yourself to not be who you are and you're not elevating to be the best version of yourself while you're in that relationship, and you're always stressed and you're not moving, you're not growing, then what's the point of being in that relationship? Just keeping it short, as of now, I believe in divorce. And even though my culture and religion don't agree to it, I guess I don't understand that I'm the first one in my family to get divorced. And I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but I don't want to be in a same relationship where my parents are. And that's not healthy. And I don't want that. So I choose to get divorced, even if it brought shame to my family, my parents, culture, religion, God, I don't know. But at the end of the day, what matters is that I am happy. My mental stability is where I need it to be. And I'm not living a miserable life. So that's the first thing that I did when it comes to breaking generational curses. The second one is, I don't know, I've been debating about this, but I am content on not having kids. And maybe in the future, I will have kids if I meet someone that I see that can fulfill that role of a husband and a father. I understand that nobody is perfect. And I know that I'm not going to find someone who's going to be 100% what I'm looking for. I understand that. I'm coming to a point in my life where if I want to have kids, I want that person to understand what he needs to do as a father, what he needs to do as a partner. I do not want to babysit nobody. And people will be like, well, if you have that mindset like that, then you're not going to get anybody. So let it be. Just know that I lower my standards so much and look what happened. Okay. And like I said, we don't really know much about relationship until we are in a relationship. And whatever relationship information you got out of, I don't know, from friends and families or social media or whatever it is, like that's what you believe in. But for me, I don't want to lower my standard. And I know I have a lot of expectation when it comes to my future husband. And for him to be a father, he cannot be lazy. That's just how it is. Like, I don't want my partner to wait on me and rely on me to do everything, especially when it comes to having kids. Yes, he is there to I don't know, donate or give sperm for us to create a life. But if he doesn't understand the concept or understand what it is to be in a partnership to help me and to also be there for his kids, then I don't want to be with the guy at all. And I'd rather not have kids. I mean, I'm not shading having kids. Like, I've always wanted to have kids, but now in my life, I gotta choose wisely. Like, I'm just not going to just choose a random guy just because I'm desperate or that I am close to 40 and I need to hurry up and make babies. No. Somehow I'm in my 40s and I happen to meet this guy, great. And if we don't have kids, then that's fine. I've learned to accept both life, kids or no kids. But in the present time, while I am recording this episode, it's okay to not have kids. And in my culture, my Hmong culture, like, they always tell us Hmong kids, or especially us daughter, to of course get educated, learn how to cook and clean, and get married, and then have kids. And there's so many of us who are struggling to actually conceive, to have kids. And if you don't conceive a kid, then what? You get blamed for it. More women get blamed for it, and they don't look at the male at all. It's always the female. If I come to a point in my life where I don't have kids, then these OGs, these grandmas, aunts and uncles, I don't care if they understand me or not. I'm just gonna tell them straightforward that it's okay to not have kids, because this is my life. And as much as I want to have kids, I know that there's a slim chance of finding that person whom I can have kids with. Like I say, I'm 33, turning 34 by the end of this year, and I know my time is up, close to up. And so if I don't have kids, or if I don't find somebody, a good partner to eventually have kids with, then so be it. And I'll be happy. And of course, I have friends and family who have kids, and I will be that single aunt that will babysit for a day or two. And I'm already happy already. Although I've always dreamed of being a mom. Maybe it's just in this lifetime, maybe I'm not meant to have kids. Maybe my life purpose is to do what I'm doing now, is creating this podcast and talking about these generational curses that we need to break in this current generation. We need to move forward as a generation to do better, to grow, and to not, I'm not saying not listen to your elders, but sometimes they're not right, okay? But all I'm saying that for those who don't want to have kids, you don't have to have kids. And let's say if you get married and you don't want to have kids, that's totally fine. It's your life. Do you? And if your families or your friends are saying that, well, you're married, you should have kids now. Like I said, some people are struggling to have kids or to start conceiving naturally. Some people have to pay money to get IUF or IUI and do like infertility things, and it is hard. And it is a struggle, and very mentally and emotionally, it just put a strain on you, basically. And I'm sure I'm one of those Hmong women who won't have kids, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna follow society. I'm not gonna follow my culture just because we're supposed to have kids or we're supposed to get married at a certain age or whatever, So that's number 2 of me breaking generational curses. Number 3 kind of ties to that, to number 1 and 2, is not getting married. I feel like there's a lot of us in our 30s who are not married. And, if you happen to not find your one person, that's totally fine. If you're content being single and you love your single life, and you just want to fool around and, I don't know, do you, then you do you. All I'm saying is that at the end of the day, nobody can say anything to you because you are your own life. You are your own self. You are the driver to your own car, okay? People may say, especially like elders, okay, they have a lot to say, and I know especially with like Hmong OGs, like they always, especially for those who are still single, not married, or if you're divorced and they expect you to get remarried again, and their thinking is that, what happens if you get old and you have nobody to take care of you? So you're basically telling me that your son needs to find somebody to take care of him. Why can't somebody take care of me? What can he take care of his wife? You know what I'm saying? But overall, what I'm trying to say is that if you're in your 30s, or let's say you're in your 20s or whatever, right? And marriage is not for you, because marriage is not for everyone. Because some people suck at being a husband. Some people suck at being a wife. Okay? And don't just get married because your family or your parents are forcing you, or all your friends and family are getting married and you're the only one that's not married. Like, if you know that marriage is not for you, then don't get married. It's just like you have to understand what it takes to be married. Like, it's like I said, it's not a joke. Being married is not a joke. It's not something where you just play around, break other people's heart, and have your spouse be a slave or doing things on your behalf. And no, like, it's a partnership, and you have to be selfless. You have to give and take as well. It's not all about one person giving all the time and one person taking all the time. No, you have to balance that. You have to put 100% in the marriage. And when your partner is not doing that, and you're the only one that's putting 100%, you're the only one that understands the concept of marriage, that causes divorce. I'm just telling you guys that, okay? Our parents they're not good examples. Some parents are a good example when it comes to marriage. We should try our best we should do our best to not be a mirror image of our parents' relationship. And I know people say that you tend to marry the man that is similar to your dad, or you tend to marry the woman that's similar to your mom. And yes, I do believe that, because I fell into that trap, but I also believe that it's okay to have that, not a mistake, but let's say a life lesson. Learn from the lesson and don't repeat it. Going back to, not getting married. If you don't want to get married, you don't have to get married. There's so much that you can do when you're single. And yes, of course, you will miss, the companionship and physical intimacy. And if you're okay with just having a relationship on the side, then that's totally fine. Like, that's your life. But find somebody that has the same mindset as you. Don't get with somebody who you are lusting over and you like this person for a certain reason, but then you don't want to get married. Like, you have to make sure that this person also don't want to get married. If you are with someone who does want to get married and you don't, that's not gonna work. Like, it's just no point. Like, we have to understand and to realize that, and to work on, learning that it's okay to be by yourself, and don't just settle just because you're lonely, or don't just settle because you need somebody there. But yeah, you don't have to get married. That's an option. I mean, I would rather just be single, and have my fun, you know what I'm saying? But if you truly want to get married, and you found somebody whom you know is the one that understand what it takes to be married, the concept of it, then go right ahead. But for me, as of now in the current time, I'm okay being single. I'm okay being single, and I've done that life already. I've done the marriage life already, and if I were to do it again, sure, but I'm gonna have to be very picky when it comes to my partner. So there's that. The fourth one that I am breaking generational curses is dating other race or ethnic groups. Now, I know that a lot of my people, a lot of Hmong people, they tend to want to stick to their own kind. And as much as I want to marry a Hmong man, I know deep down that I can't be a Hmong ya, or to translate that, a Hmong daughter-in-law. Just because I have my own mindset. I love my individuality. I love my space, my freedom. I don't see myself bending backwards just to cater to my husband's family, especially when your husband's family disrespect you as their son's wife. I just can't do that. And just to sit there and not say anything because you're supposed to respect the elders and don't say anything, even if they're wrong, even if they're saying things that are degrading and are disrespectful towards you, you can't say nothing. I just can't be that woman no more. If I see something that is wrong, I'm gonna call it out. I don't care if you're older than me, younger than me, I'm gonna call it out. And I cannot be that Hmong daughter-in-law. I just can't. So If I happen to meet a Hmong man who understand that, who can draw down boundaries when it comes to him and his parents and me, who knows who he is as a person, who's not gonna let anybody disrespect me, then sure. But at the same time, I am open to dating other race, other ethnic groups. And I know growing up, my parents did not like that, did not like it where if we were to date black guys, white guys, or other Asian group or whatever, right? They don't like that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Hmong parents don't like that. And I'm sure other culture and other ethnic groups don't like that. They like to stay within their own kind, which is totally fine. But it's like, if you really want to find somebody who has the same mindset as you, who is all about growth, who understand the current mindset of this generation, and they're not living in the old traditional way, then you have to branch out. I'm not shading Hmong men, okay? I'm not. Majority of the Hmong men that I've met, that I've dated and have conversate with, they're not the best, okay? I'm not saying I'm way better. No, it's just that my mindset is not where majority of Hmong people's mindset is. I don't know. Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but for those who understand me, like, just let me know that you understand what I'm trying to say here, okay? I feel like a lot of our Hmong people, they don't, some of them don't want any growth. They're not willing to branch out and go out of their culture, their tradition and their own race. They feel more comfortable staying within themselves. And you know, if that's how they feel, cool. But for me, I'm very Americanized, and I don't really believe, or I don't follow any of the old traditional ways anymore. I just don't believe it because of my past experience. And I didn't grow up learning about the Hmong culture like that. And if I want to be with someone who understands both the cultural aspect and the religion aspect, but then at the same time, they don't allow anything to define who they are as a person. And also, they're open-minded to other resources, to other people versus just their own kind, then I am open to meeting that person. Because I don't see people as based off of the color of their skin, their culture, their gender. I believe that everyone is the same. And of course, we're different, like, especially when it comes to sex. Male and female are different. Yes, I understand that. But as a human being, we are all the same. We feel the same. We have similar tastes, similar mindset. Like, we're all the same. It's just that we as an individual, if we want to do better or become better, we need to do that for ourselves. Like I said, my experience with other Hmong guys, they don't want to expand themselves within their culture. They want to stick to their own kind. And a lot of them don't want to grow. Like, their mindset is still stuck to where our parents' mindset is, which is, you know, go to school, get married, get a job, and then have kids, and that's it. There's more to just having kids and just living life. There's depth to it, but our parents don't know. We don't know that. I'm in a point in my life where I need depth. I can't do surface level. I don't want a Cinderella story. I don't want the marry a prince and you live happily ever after. No, because you don't live happily ever after, because there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that you have to go through. I'm keeping my mind open and my options open when it comes to dating other race and other ethnic groups, as long as we share the same mindset and we can respect and understand each other. That's all I care about. Like, I don't care so much about the culture and the religion aspect. Like I said, nobody's perfect, but if you want to find somebody who you can grow and have that in-depth relationship, deep conversation, and talking about certain things that not a lot of people will talk about. For me, honestly, I can't date Hmong guys if their mindset is still where our parents' mindset used to be. So that's just my thought right there. And I don't need no Hmong guys to come here and hate on me, but I'm just being honest, okay? I'm keeping my option open, and if I date other race and my parents don't like it, oh well. Because at the end of the day, they don't pay my bills. So it's like, as much as I love my parents, at the end of the day, this is my life. So there's that. The fifth thing that I am breaking generation curses is be open to talking about emotions. My family, we don't talk about our emotions at all. It's more of when there's any issues within the family or within siblings or whatnot, we don't talk about it. I think it's very emotional when it comes to talking about our emotions. After starting this podcast, I've been showing a lot of my emotion. I've been crying a lot and I've been expressing a lot when it comes to my emotion. And I know some people, they don't like it because they're not used to it or they're not used to sharing their emotions, being vulnerable, and that's fine. But for me as an individual, I'm breaking that generational curse. I want to be able to talk about the ins and out of my emotions and not be afraid to express how I feel. I'm not the type of person to share things or say things to offend anybody. I am sharing what I'm feeling because I care about the other person and I want them to understand where my emotions is. And, sometimes people, they don't want to hear about your emotions or they don't care about your emotions. But I say that if something's bothering you, you have to share that. If someone is saying or doing something that's offending you and you don't like it, you have to speak up and tell the person that. And it's not to offend them. That's just how you are. People just have to stop taking things so personal and just to have an open mindset and open ears and just listen, understand where this person is when it comes to their emotions. And, I'm pretty sure men these days, they have it hard just because society, family, social media, them growing up as a man, they're not supposed to show their emotions. They're not supposed to be vulnerable or what they call it, quote unquote, weak. If they cry, I don't want anybody, especially men, to feel like they can't express their emotions. For me, when I talk, I talk really deep, and I feel like some people don't want to go there because they are so used to putting on a strong mask that they can't drop that and put on their emotional mask. It's okay. Some people are just not ready to talk about their emotions, and that's fine. But for me, I just want to talk about it just because I just love hearing people's story and what they've been through. And, if they cry, I cry too because I understand. I put myself in other people's shoes. It's important to talk about emotions. It's important to express it too when needed. Sometimes it's not best to just hold it in and not say anything. Ever since starting this podcast, I've been talking and sharing a lot about my emotional side. And if you guys been listening to my previous episode, there's a couple of episodes where, yes, I have some crying session and it's okay. I'm not much of a crybaby back in the days, but now I've learned to give myself permission to be in those emotions. And I advise you to also give yourself permission to also be in your own emotions. Even if you have to cry by yourself or behind closed door, or even if you have to cry in your car, like allow yourself to be in your emotions. Cool yourself down if you need to. If you know that you're going to spaz out or say things that you're going to regret, take yourself out of that situation and cool yourself off. That's one thing that I'm doing, and that's one thing I'm breaking is being able to talk about my emotions. Number 6 of breaking generational curses is similar to number 5, solving conflicts and not just ignoring them. Again, my family, we don't do a good job of conflicts, but we're really good at ignoring them. We're really good at sweeping things under the rug. And for me as an individual, like I used to be that type where I would just walk away and not talk about the conflict or the situation. And that kind of point in my life where, it's okay to walk away, to cool off, and to organize your thoughts before you say something to that person. You don't want to say things that will jeopardize your relationship, whom you're having that conflict with. But at the same time, you got to be mature enough to talk about those conflicts and come up with solutions. And again, some people are not mature enough to sit down, have that conversation, and discuss what just happened. What do we say to each other? What can we do to be better and say I'm sorry? Some people are not ready for that. Some people are uncomfortable when it comes to that. They rather just sweep things under the rug, and a couple days later, if they see you, they say hi, and that's it. And like, For me, I just can't sit still when it comes to that. But I've come to realize and accept that not everyone has the same mindset as me. Not everyone is mature enough to have that uncomfortable conversation when it comes to conflict. What I need to do as an individual is, you know what, if this person don't want to talk to me and talk about what just happened between us, I'm just going to let it go. Draw boundaries. It's not to say to cut off that person. It's more of, if you're the type of person that don't want to resolve no conflict, when you know that that person is in the wrong and they're not willing to talk about it and say that, okay, they shouldn't have said this, just walk away. Have that closure for yourself. Just accept that I can't have this conversation with this person. Now, that's where the relationship will take a turn where, yeah, it sucks. You can't really share certain things with this person anymore. You can't really think of them in a way where you used to think of them. And yeah, it's really sad and it sucks that it has to be that way. Some people don't grow. At the end of the day, some people do not grow. Some people don't want to have that mature adult conversation. People don't want to resolve nothing because they grew up not learning how to do these things. But I also feel like, you know, I grew up in that environment, but I was willing to change myself to better myself so that when stuff like this, like small little itty bitty conflict that happens, I need to be a mature adult to talk about it. Like, let's just sit down and talk about it. We don't need to argue. We can agree and disagree, but there's no point of raising our voice. There's no point of cussing at each other. We just need to learn how to listen and understand and comprehend. And if we can't do that, and if you know that that person that you are having that conflict with can't do that, there's just no point of pushing the button because they're going to avoid you and they're going to act like nothing happens. And for me, honestly, I don't want to be around people like that. I really don't. I want to be around with people where if they've done or said things that they didn't know that was offending other person and the other person told you that they didn't like it, first, don't take it personal. And second, just say I'm sorry and that's it, you know, because you didn't know. Nobody's perfect. Okay, at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. But that's why I say number 5, we have to be open to talking about our emotions. When we talk about our emotions, it goes back to conflicts where we could sit down and talk about, okay, you know, you said this and you did that and I feel uncomfortable or I didn't like it, whatever, right? So if this is the first time that conflict has happened, then have the conversation. But if it's like multiple times where you have to talk to this person about the same problem, then that person's not willing to understand you and to get what you're trying to tell that person, to understand what you're trying to tell that person, they're not solving anything because the conflict is still repeating itself. That's how I see it though. So yeah, I just don't want to live my life where there's an issue and when the issue's not solved, we just ignore it, forget it. We just move on and when we see each other, hey, how you doing? And act all fake and act like we're okay, but really we're not. And it sucked, you guys. It really sucked, but I hate being the bigger person, but eventually you're going to have to be the bigger person and just fucking, I don't know, just drop it, have that closure for yourself and move on. But just know that just create that boundary because the relationship, you can't really fix the relationship to where it used to be anymore because if you're the one that is wanting to solve the problem, come up with solutions, and that person doesn't want to do that, it's not going to go anywhere. So be the bigger person, drop it, create your boundary, and just move on. The next one, number 7, where I'm breaking generational curses is seeking a therapist or a counselor. I know that in order to meet a therapist or a counselor, you need to pay money and you need to invest in yourself. Currently, I cannot afford a therapist. I can't because it's not within my budget. As much as I would love to have one, but I really want a good therapist though. But in order to get a good therapist, you have to find the right one and you have to meet different therapists. And do I really want to do that? No, not really. But in order for me to talk to someone in regards to my mental state and all that stuff, right? I highly encourage you guys to get a therapist or talk to a counselor. A lot of the Hmong people, they don't like to seek other help, or they don't believe in therapists or marriage therapist or marriage counselor or counseling. The only thing that is similar to marriage counseling is if they have their last name clan or their Hmong clan to come together on behalf of the husband and wife and talk about, okay, what happened in the marriage or whatever. That's the closest thing to marriage counseling, but honestly, that's no help at all. I honestly feel like when that happens, the woman get blamed for everything, okay? I know, sad to say, but that's what happens in my mom culture, and that's the honest truth. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, but that's the honest truth. It's always the wife's fault. The wife didn't do this. The wife didn't cook as much. The wife didn't sleep with her husband as much. The wife is not working. It's always the wife all the time. I don't believe in seeking the Hmong elder clans for help when it comes to marriage, because they don't work for shit. They're more on the men's side, which sucks. So I will much rather prefer if I were to get married, I will much rather have us meet a marriage counselor or talk to a therapist, and just have outside help versus talking to people within our own kind, our own race or ethnic group. Just because the way I see it, it doesn't help. It does not help at all. And I know some people, they don't believe in seeking a therapist because they think that if you go outside of what you know for help, then you're weak, you have issues. But that's not the point though. At the end of the day, like I always gonna repeat myself, we don't know how to do relationship. We don't know how to do marriage. So in order for us to have a successful marriage or successful relationship, we need mentors, we need coaching, we need therapists. We need all of that in order for them to help us guide to where we need to be in life. I highly encourage anyone to seek a therapist or seek a counselor or life coach, and not be afraid to use those resources. I get it. It can be a lot harder. However, if you're like me where you can't afford therapy or to talk to a life coach, there's a lot of people online that give out free courses or free information that can help you. And if that's something that you can start off with, then do that. Because I've been doing that since the beginning of or after my divorce, and it has helped me to grow. You have to invest in yourself. If you want to become better, you want to grow as a person, you have to spend money and seek those things in order for you to become a lot more than what you are now. If I was rich and I have the money and if I can afford therapy, I would definitely pay for that. But as of right now, currently, I am just soaking in any free things that I can soak up on. You can read books, listen to audibles, watch YouTube videos. There's a lot of coaches out there, a lot of therapists out there that's giving out free information. That's up to you to make that choice, to make that decision, to become the best version of yourself. If you want to grow as a person, definitely take the advantage of that. Don't just act like you know what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you don't know what you're doing. You need to seek these things in order for you to balance your mental mind, balance your spirituality, because you can't do this by yourself. And don't act like you know, or you think you're better and that you don't need therapy or you don't need a counselor. Because I'm pretty sure you're going through a lot of things, but you're just putting that strong mask on. And we don't want that, okay? And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to, be soft. And that's one of the things that I am breaking generation curses, which is seeking a therapist. Even though my parents aren't seeking a therapist, majority of my Hmong people aren't taking advantage of the mental health. For me, I'm going to take advantage of that. And the last one of me breaking generational curses is having a voice or an opinion. This kind of ties back to opening up about my emotions and solving conflict, because a lot of times, especially growing up in the Hmong family, us Hmong women or Hmong daughters were taught to not talk back and not say much. We don't have an opinion for ourselves. I'm pretty sure my parents' generation had it really bad. yeah, I'm to the point where, if I see something that's wrong, I'm gonna call out for it. I'm gonna say it how it is. I don't just say it because I want to start shit. No, I say it because it's wrong. That's the only time I will say something. That's the only time I will start shit. Okay. That's why I say that I can't be married to someone where his family thinks that they can walk all over me. They can disrespect me just because they can disrespect their son. And I'm not going to put up with that, because I lived that life before. And in the end, if my future husband can't distinguish between his boundaries from his family and he's allowing them to disrespect me, I'm not having it. Especially for those who are dating a guy, right? I'm just using this as an example. A guy, girl, whatever, right? And the parents are disrespecting your partner or the person that you're dating. Do not get married to that person. I'm honestly telling you the truth, okay? Because from my experience, of course, we watch movies, a lot of dramas. I've watched a lot of Thai lakon, and it's always the storyline of a man and a woman, they date, but then they can't be with each other because his mom doesn't like his girlfriend, right? But in the end, they got married because she was hopeful that, he's going to protect her, and that he's not going to allow his family to do disrespectful things towards her, right? But in the end, he couldn't be a man enough to protect her, and he allowed his parents to say and do whatever they want to do towards, his wife. And it's real life shit, okay? It's real life shit. And although I didn't get like the physical treatment from the in-laws, like, I think emotionally and mentally that was, it was very abusive, and the fact that when you're with someone who can't protect you and can't tell his parents to stop doing or stop saying certain things to his partner, I'm sorry, there's no respect right there. There's just no point of moving forward or getting married to this person. Some of you may not realize that or know that, but maybe you need to be like me, where you have to live through it in order for you to learn it. And I've learned it, and I'm telling you, during those times I didn't have a voice because I couldn't say anything, because we grew up not saying shit. We're supposed to say anything. We have to do whatever the in-laws tell us what to do. And that was that. And now I'm currently saying that I cannot be a Hmong daughter-in-law, because I will speak my mind out, and I want, like I said, I want my own space. I don't want to live with my in-laws. Nope. I want me and my husband to have our own life. I'm not saying that we're excluding his family. No, it's just more of, we will be there when we're supposed to be there. But to be there every weekend, every day, I need my own life too. At the end of the day, you are going to die. You're not going to have these people die with you. They're either going to die first or die after you. I don't know. But you have to realize that this is your life. This is not nobody else's life. And you have to choose someone who wants to build the life with you. And if they cannot draw their boundaries when it comes to their parents, and they're just sitting there allowing their parents to disrespect you, the relationship's not going to work. It's not. And if you're the type of person, male or female, especially us women, Hmong women, I know that we're so used to just not saying anything. But I want to let you know that you do matter too. Your opinion matters. Your feelings, your emotion matters. You have to have a voice of your own. Just because you're married to a man, that doesn't mean that that's your life. It doesn't have to be that way. That's why I feel like we as a collective in this generation need to break away from certain generational curses. And these are the 8 that I have found so far for myself that I'm breaking out of. And it's either I am no longer believing in it, I'm no longer living for these things, or I am now living in these things, because I realize that you can't have your culture and your religious belief define who you are. If you take away culture, you take away sex, you take away religion, you take away politics, you take all these out, everybody's the same. If we allow so much of our culture to define us, so much of our religion, our politics to define us, then we lose ourselves. And when you actually are in a point in life where you need help, you are, like I said, thinking of getting divorced, but you can't, because in your culture, they believe that it brings shame to your clan, your family clan. Or if you're a Christian, you're sinning against God because you're divorced and God doesn't approve divorce. I do believe that God is not a God that's going to bind you or force you to do certain things in your life. He gives you the freedom to do whatever you want to do. And to say that God doesn't like divorcee, you're basically telling me that I have to be in this unfulfilled relationship, or I have to be in this relationship with someone who is physically abusive or who is mentally and spiritually abusive, and I can't leave this relationship because God will get mad at me. But what if I can leave this marriage because God is telling me that I want better for my child? Ooh, y'all, it's been a minute since I haven't cried. Oh my gosh. And that's why I say that we can't just look too deep into culture, too deep into religion, because that's going to hold us back from becoming the best version of us. And for people to say that God doesn't love us or God loves us less because we're a divorcee, what kind of shit is that, you know? And I understand that God is not a God that, like, God doesn't hate me because I'm a divorcee. God doesn't hate me less or love me less because I've decided to get divorced. Because I know God will say that this relationship that you were in did not serve you spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And that marriage did not serve me, your God. That was deep. But yeah, I do want to go more in depth and divorce as a Christian woman, or just a Christian in general. This is just like a sneak peek of it. I mean, I didn't think I would be very emotional on this episode, but I think that's one of the things that held me back from actually moving forward with my life, and not thinking that just because I am a divorcee that I am loved less, you know? Whew. And it goes back to number 5, opening to talking about emotions. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, there'll be days, or there'll be a couple episodes where I would be very vulnerable and emotional, and that's okay. Like I say, give yourself permission to be within those emotions. We gotta break away from these generational curses. And if we want to do better for us, for our generation and our future generation, we have to shift our mindset. We can't live the life that we used to live, or the life that our parents used to live. We want to do better. We need to do better. And if it takes you, the first one in your family, to break those generational curses, then do it. Don't just do it because you want attention or you're trying to make a statement. Do it because it's not fulfilling you anymore. Your belief is old now. And that's just how I feel. Like I said, I used to believe in all of these things, you know, not, like I said, not not talking about my emotions, not talking about conflict, and I didn't believe in therapy, and I was quiet, couldn't say much, you know. Divorce is a sin. I have to have kids because if I don't have kids, I'm not successful in life, and I have to get married too, because if I'm not married, then I'm alone and nobody's going to take care of me, and everybody else is getting married except for me, and I don't want to be the last one to get married. Yeah, my mindset has shifted. And if you have listened so far and you feel that your mindset is different from how everybody was, or how you grew up, let's just break the generation curses and do better. That's all. That's all. But yeah, I know this is gonna be a long episode, but I want to thank you guys for continuing to listen to me, to support me. I know I talk a lot and my episodes are super long, but if you stick throughout all my episodes and you listen from start to finish, thank you. And for those who can't sit there and listen for me for like an hour, you missed out a lot of things. And there are a lot of things that I am giving out for free, and things I should just keep to myself, but I got nothing to hide. I just want each and every one of you to be successful in life. I want you guys to do better, because I want to do better too. And if I want that, I want others to have that as well. I'm going to end this episode here. And like I said, thank you for those who have supported me from beginning until now, who have listened to me. Always follow me on my Facebook page, my Instagram, and my TikTok at yours truly. And yeah, I have a lot of topics that I want to go through and go in depth with, and we're gonna have another crying session. It's been a minute since I had one. But if you want to listen and cry along, let's cry. Let's empty our tears, okay? Empty the emotions that we weren't able to express in the past, and now we're giving ourselves permission to be in our emotions. I think I'm gonna end it here. Again, I love you guys. Thanks for supporting me and for listening, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.